I feel like Heath Ledger and the Joker, and he's talking about how everyone loses their minds. And that's what we have when it snows down here on the plains. I mean, we're both in toboggans. It's a Toboggan Tuesday edition.
Yeah, it is.
Of Village Vice.
Woo!
He's Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law. My goodness, we had a national championship last night. We had Raw last night. We have snow today. Nobody's going to school till at least March. Like, it's crazy. And the adrenaline is pumping today. How you doing, Zach?
I'm great. I'm great. We got our Raw review coming up. That'll be at like the 20-ish minute mark whenever we're done talking about Auburn stuff. But no, I'm excited. It's snowing like crazy.
Yeah.
From a Opelika, Alabama point of view, crazy. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Fun snow day.
I don't know if you can see in the background, but I've got the blinds open, so I don't think you can see the snow, but it is snowing and it's sticking, and nobody's going to school, and that's where we are. So
yeah. Let's just close everything down.
Yep. Let's get into the show today. I wanted to ask this off the heels of the national championship game last night. Okay,
did you watch the whole thing?
No, I didn't. When Oklahoma State scored, or not Oklahoma, when Ohio State scored.
Let's say you really didn't watch it.
No. When Ohio State scored to start the second half, like, you knew when they scored to end the first half, like, oh, they're going to make it 21-7, then they've got the ball first. Notre Dame's not. It's going to be 28-7. And so at 28-7, I said, I'm out. I'm going to Raw. So I spent a little time on Raw. Then I spent a little time on Your Honor on Netflix, which is I've just gotten into.
Okay.
Highly recommend.
Do you watch Severance?
I tried. I got it. I watched an episode and a half.
It's the best active show, and it's not close.
I disagree with that. I would give the best active show to. It's also on Apple, but it's Shrinking. Harrison Ford.
My wife loves Shrinking. I haven't watched it yet. Does Auburn have a playoff roster?
It's a good question. Let's not get sidetracked. We're going to be doing snow angels in here if we're not careful. That was my question coming out of the championship game last night. Is in 2025, does Auburn have a playoff roster? Okay, so I want to have that discussion with you. I want to have it with our villagers in the comments. Where do they have playoff caliber talent? Where is there not playoff caliber talent? And I know, Zach, the number one position that everybody goes to is
quarterback.
All right. So let me run down the quarterbacks from the playoff this year.
Okay.
These are your playoff quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel, Drew Aller, Curtis Rourke, Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, Kevin Jennings, SMU, Riley Leonard, Sam Levitt, Arizona State, Cade Klubnik, Nico Iamaleava, Maddox Madsen at Boise State, and Gunnar Stockton / Carson Beck, because Beck got him almost.
Beck got him there. Yeah.
Right. Is Jackson Arnold better than any of those quarterbacks? Any of the? Would you take Jackson over any of those quarterbacks?
Oh. I don't think so.
Hard-hitting questions right off the bat.
I don't think so. That's not where I thought you were going. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I think I probably would a couple. I mean, I don't know why you would assume Madsen is better just because he's at Boise.
Madsen,
Rourke, right.
I like the SMU kid a lot, so I'm not quite ready to say yes on that one.
But I don't know that Jackson couldn't do just as well with what else is around him and in the ACC like SMU did.
The thing that's going to be so annoying, I'm going to say annoying, I didn't want to, but so annoying talking about Auburn's quarterback situation for the next 8 months until they play football again.
Yeah.
Is going to be like, Jackson is just as talented, if not more talented, than most of those guys that half of those guys that you just listed.
Okay.
The issue is those guys that are in the playoff flourished in their scheme and their system.
Yeah.
And I think Jackson is talented enough. Sure. I don't know if the scheme is going to set him up to win. And to me, it's like, you can be the best quarterback in the world, but if your scheme stinks, you can only do so much. And so, not that Auburn's scheme is going to stink, but is it going to be good enough to get into the playoff? I don't think so.
Okay. What about other so give me 2 or 3 positions, Zach, that you think are absolutely good enough to be a playoff caliber team?
I think Auburn's good enough at receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I think Auburn's good enough at offensive line. I think Auburn's good enough at defensive back.
Okay. I would agree with that. Probably most people would agree. Is there another position, I wonder, that, that might be on the fringe that people would put above those three?
Above them?
Yeah. Or in the same company? We don't know what else they're going to add on the defensive line.
No, and that's kind of the issue, right?
Yeah.
Is after quarterback, I would say the second most important position group is O-line. And the third most important is defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And as a whole, like, I think they have pieces that are good enough.
Yeah.
Keldrick certainly does his part. Blockton, for what we're going to ask him to do, I think does his part. I think the edge room is going to be fine, honestly.
Yeah.
But you need more. You need more. And over the course of the season, we saw this kind of with Notre Dame. Like, they had depth. They had depth at all these different positions to kind of, backfill. And I think Auburn has that at a few positions.
Mm-hmm.
But defensive line is arguably, the most important unit on the defense at that level of football. And I think Auburn's a ways away from the teams that we saw make the Final Four. They need more up front.
Yeah. Okay. Where are they?
You disagree or agree with anything I just said?
I don't think I disagree with it. No, I think.
What about the quarterback question?
It's really two different quarterback questions. It's just, are they good enough as they are at the quarterback spot? And then would you take any of them over the playoff? Would you take Jackson over the quarterbacks in last year's playoff? Or if you put Jackson Arnold on any of those teams, do they have the same results, or better or worse?
Now, that's an interesting question. If you took Jackson Arnold and put him in some of those offenses, I do think they get better. So yes. Okay. And that's what gets tricky about this. Like, I love Nico at Tennessee. Mm-hmm. I think he is a star. Very high on him. I think he's going to win a Heisman before he's done. Very high on Nico. Can't say his last name, but I really love watching him play. If he were to enter the portal and come to Auburn, I don't know if I feel much different about the season. I just don't believe in the offense in key situations right now.
Yeah, that's a foundational thing then. That's a scheme.
Yeah.
That there's a hole in the cup that you hold your confidence, right?
Sure.
And
there's a hole in the cup that I hold my confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. Until that hole is patched, it doesn't matter whether you put water in there, tea in there, Coca-Cola, milk, doesn't matter what you put in there.
But there's confidence in there.
There's confidence. There's just
a hole in the cup that holds my confidence.
So, all right. Then that's
Toboggan Tuesday, baby. Let's go.
You never know what to expect on Toboggan Tuesday. What do you make of the argument that, or the assertion that Ohio State paid enough for their roster, and that is the way forward in the NIL era? Is if you pay enough for your roster, you're going to have a spot in the playoff. On face value, before we throw some figures out, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, at its core, it's not about money. It's about having the best roster.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's some correlations there for sure. How do you attract the best talent as you pay them?
Major correlations, yeah.
But people are saying, they got there because of their money. It's they got there because the roster was the best. You still have – Auburn paid a lot of people last year, and it didn't pan out. And we've seen a lot of transfer quarterbacks get a lot of money elsewhere, and they don't pan out.
Yeah.
So, it's not all about the money. It's about having the best roster. There's overlap, no question. Yeah. But I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
I don't know what Notre Dame, what kind of compensation they put out for guys on their roster, but I did see this list come up on Twitter or X last night. And I thought it was interesting. Okay.
All right.
So number one was Oregon at $23 million. They were the number one team. They were undefeated in the regular season. So you would say on face value,
who put this list out?
Robert Griffin, RG3 tweeted this list out.
How do they know the amounts?
I don't know. It's clearly a screenshot from, though, a broadcast of some sort.
And RG3 just screenshotted and posted it?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Got it.
So for that, I guess if that's a grain of salt you want to take this with, that's fair. I can't argue that. But
okay.
Oregon at 23, Texas at 22.2, Ohio State at 20.2. Those are your top three. Again, we don't know the private school. We don't know what their compensation packages look like.
We don't know any of it. We don't know if that's exactly what they had or not. We don't know that.
No, I mean, I guess it's based on, numbers from their collective and what they're willing to share or what's public, or I don't know. But that's what's on the list.
Okay.
You don't put very much in this at all. This doesn't go very far with you, does it?
No, because the number's higher probably in some cases, and in other cases it's probably lower. I know like a lot of them. Keep going.
Well, no, I was going to, but don't you think that it's fairly, like, if I told you that the top 8 public spenders in college football were Oregon, Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Georgia, Texas A&M, Michigan, and Alabama.
That checks.
Okay. So figure we can, split hairs about the exact number.
Okay, sure.
But if I tell you those are the top 8, does that make sense? Do we buy that?
Totally.
Okay. If I tell you the top 3 are Oregon, Texas, and Ohio State,
that checks. Sure.
No, that checks as well. All right. So you could lay that out there and say, well, then absolutely it pays because those 3 were playoff teams. Right? But then you get into the others. LSU, not a playoff team. And their losses weren't like 3 of their 4 losses were double-digit losses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they just barely missed out.
Yeah.
Georgia was a playoff team. Mm-hmm. Texas A&M won 8 games. Mm-hmm. Michigan won 7 games in the regular season. Mm-hmm. Alabama, not a playoff team. So half of them made the playoff. Half of them didn't make the playoff.
Right.
And I think I say that, Zach, to say that just saying, well, let's just go out and buy the best roster you can get, doesn't necessarily, that's not the answer. It's not about just going out and buying the roster.
There's an important distinction of going and paying the most money versus getting the best roster.
Right.
Ohio State had the best roster this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually don't think it's close.
I agree.
I don't think it's close.
Yeah.
I think Oregon may have had the best team, pound for pound, but they didn't show up when it mattered most. So who cares? Right. Yeah. But pound for pound, like if every team plays everybody round robin 5 times or whatever, like I think if the sample size is massive, I think Oregon wins more than any other team. But it doesn't matter. Can you step up when it matters most? And that's exactly what Ohio State did. Ohio State, if I think it was here that we talked about this, like if the college football playoff doesn't expand and it's 4 teams, like they don't even make it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You know what's another interesting question? If they beat Michigan, do they win the national championship? Or did that loss to Michigan serve?
We'll never know.
Yeah, sir. Because I tend to think that if they had beaten Michigan, they wouldn't have won the national championship. I think that was the rallying point. That was, what are we all here for if this is the way we're going to go out? And then they banded together and they weren't going to be stopped.
Miami wasn't on that top 8?
No.
Okay.
And according to this figure, 8 on the list was Alabama at $16 million.
Okay.
So I have no idea where Miami would be.
Got it.
On this fourth-hand screenshotted RG3 post on X.
Are you looking at a screenshot of RG3 screenshot that he posted on X?
I'm looking at the actual post of the screenshot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be funny if somebody else posted a screenshot of RG3's screenshot. That'd be great.
They actually use the snipping tool in Microsoft Windows to get a screenshot.
I use it for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Roback though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Roback.
RHOBACK.com, Roback.com. They've got everything, Brad Law.
It's not going to be this cold forever. Pretty soon, it's going to be short sleeve weather again.
We'll be swimming next week.
Oh yeah, their selection of polos is second to none. Second to none.
Elite.
So use the time that you're not going to be working or going to school because everything shuts down for snow, and just peruse, if you will, their selection at Roback.com.
Yeah, they don't even shut down because of the snow, just the threat of snow.
That's right.
It's like we could get one snowflake that hits the road.
Shut it down. Can't
Life
drive.
has to pause for a second.
Yep. Can't drive.
Life has to pause. But at rowback.com, use promo code VICE20 for 20% off your order. There you go. VICE20, 20% off, rowback.com. In short, though, I don't think Auburn has a playoff roster.
Where do you think they could add?
Defensive line.
Okay. And that to bring them up to a playoff caliber roster?
I think so. I think if they got 3 more SEC caliber defensive linemen, I think they've got a shot. And then it's on the coaches at that point. And that's where it's like, okay, can you run a scheme that, you know, emphasizes the strengths of your players? I think that's kind of the next step.
Before we get into our raw review, do they have the schedule for a playoff run?
Sure. I think so.
Games at Baylor, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt. Those are your road games.
Mm-hmm.
And then home, Georgia, Missouri, Kentucky, Alabama, and your other 9.
If Auburn clicks and they play to what, because I think Auburn does have a top 20 roster.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good roster. And I mean, that's the way it is at Auburn, right? Whenever the stars align, you get good quarterback play.
Mm-hmm.
Cam, Nick, Stidham, you've got a shot.
Yeah.
You've got a shot. And can Jackson do that? Oh, Jackson Arnold just hit Cam Coleman, 42-yard catch and run for a touchdown. Go.
Arnold going along down the sideline. He's got Coleman. Milkshake for Jackson.
But yeah, I think it comes down to quarterback play. And I don't even know if it's Jackson. I think it's more, Hugh Freeze and Derek Nix figuring out how to use all the pieces.
Okay. All right. Tell us what you think in the comments down below. What positions do you like the most? Which ones can they add to and become a playoff roster? Or do you think they're already there right now, today, heading into the 2025 season?
I mean, let's think of it this way, though. So Hugh Freeze comes in.
Yep.
In his first class, half a class, but that's where you got Connor Liu and Keldrick and Kayan Lee. I mean, he got some dudes in that short period of time.
Sure.
And he got them up to 19th, I think. Is that right? They finished 19th on that signing day. Then had an incredible, and then had an incredible portal haul. Most of those guys are gone, but had a few guys that are going to be kind of depth pieces and maybe a few starters. I'm trying to think of who all that would have been. Probably just depth pieces. But then, since then, they've been consistently top 7 and top 6 class, respectively. Like when you look at the composite out of high school, and then depending on where you look, top 5 both years in the portal class. And so, I mean, we talk about stacking classes and what that looks like. It's like they're close.
Yeah.
They're close. It's just one more year, and Auburn probably has a top 10 roster.
And it's not, you can't just say you got to get a top 12, because you're going to have automatic qualifiers. It's not just about, you're going to need about a top 8. If you're top 8 or so, and you stack those year after year, then yes, theoretically, you should be in that discussion by the time your roster has 3 or more top 8 or so.
Or you make up for it with coaching and scheme.
Yeah.
Or you lean over your skis because you have a special player. Usually it's at quarterback, or you've got an Ashton Genty, or maybe Cam Coleman's that guy this year or next year. Just guys who can take over a football game. You see it most of the quarterback because they touch the ball every play, but you need a guy like that to kind of alter the scales a little bit. And Auburn may have some of those guys on the roster. They really might.
I do believe in Cam that much, that him and then Eric Singleton and Malcolm Simmons and Perry, like all the guys we've talked about, the way the explosion you saw from Cam the second half of the season does give me some belief that if there is a deficiency, if they're not already a playoff roster with the accumulation of what they have, I think he's special enough to lift you up over that bar potentially.
All right.
We'll just see how, September tell you so much.
Once again, like Jackson has the talent to do it.
No question.
He has the talent to do it. Mm-hmm. If you tell me, hey, Jackson Arnold has the same stat line that Peyton Thorne had a year ago without the turnovers, and Auburn got better in the red zone because of play calling.
Yeah.
Auburn has a shot. They have a shot.
Yep. I think it's way more about, you got to kick field goals too. You got to get you 3. Can't miss field goals.
Yeah. And it can't snow. Can't snow
It's snow.
because
Nope.
we need things open.
We'll know how to act. Yeah, that's right.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Thanks everybody for staying with us throughout this Auburn discussion. And now,
jump into the little Raw review, Village Vice Raw review for a few moments before we wrap up.
That's Stone Cold's music. That is Stone Cold's music. Here we go. Raw review.
This was my least favorite week of watching Raw so far.
Really? Are you are you less enthusiastic, or did you carry the same enthusiasm into it and it just disappointed? Are you cooling?
I talked about this with my wife last night after we got done watching. It's like, I enjoyed that less than
she watched it with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think she's fully in. She's usually like on her phone or whatever, or on her computer doing stuff. But yeah, she's in the room when it's on.
All right.
I'm getting more familiar with the roster, which is fun. You're starting to figure out who likes who and who doesn't like who and all that stuff. And okay, that's fun. I love all that. I don't know if it was the actual fights or the stuff outside of I always call them fights, the matches, or the stuff outside of it. It just felt really slow last night. There were matches that were way too long. Yeah. The stuff in between the matches was way too long. It just felt a lot slower paced.
Yeah.
I also think Pat McAfee not being on there, I think Pat McAfee makes it a more watchable product for sure.
Ooh, that's interesting. So not a Wade Barrett fan. You didn't like him. Now he's a former wrestler.
They showed a few replays of him and all that. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Right.
I like that Rhea Ripley got jumped pretty early, like when they were doing the walk through the backstage area shot, because the last 2 weeks, that's been I'm watching an NBA or NFL game and I watch the player come through and it's blurring the line between sports and sports entertainment.
Sure.
And then she got jumped. So I like that.
It was awesome.
Yeah. I didn't like that it took 24 minutes to get to the first match.
Okay, sure.
And of course, I'm not a big Jey Uso fan either. I don't like this yeet deal and Michael Cole jumping around like he's 60. He doesn't need to be jumping around like he's jumping around when Jey Uso comes through the crowd. Don't care for that. Don't like Jey Uso's glasses either because they're too close to the Macho Man's look.
Okay.
So I don't like that very much. And the fact that Gunther called him a dork, I kind of dug it. I kind of didn't mind that. So
yeah,
I'm going against what they're wanting you to do there. They want you to be for Jey and against Gunther, but I'm sort of on Gunther's side.
Yeah, I'm new to all this, but it just doesn't feel like he's a heavyweight champion at this point. Gunther, was it the Ring General? Is that his name? The Ring General. He feels like he kind of gives off that air of, I'm better than you because I've earned it. Like, I'm kind of there with you. I like the Yeet stuff more than you do. I think it's fun, but the forced like rivalry between them, I'm just not buying right now.
Yeah, didn't care for that. Not a good way to start it, in my opinion. And then we go to Rey Mysterio and Kofi Kingston. So a couple of guys who've been around. Mysterio has been around a lot. He's 50. We talked about this before the show today. 50 years old.
What he's able to do physically at 50 years old is incredible. Don't know if I want to watch it, but incredible.
I have a respect for still being able to hit the 619 at 50. No question.
Impressive stuff. Good for him.
Yeah, I don't want, and maybe this is his only match on Raw for the next 6 months. I kind of hope so. That's not the way I want to start my show. Penta was good again. Penta is I haven't been as excited for a character since Bray Wyatt's Fiend, probably, as I am for Penta. So give me all the Penta that we can get.
Yeah, Penta's great. I liked him more this week than last week, actually.
Yeah. What did you think of the Sami Zayn promo and Bailey?
Sami Zayn, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think. I don't really like. Man, I think I get it, but he's trying to become his own guy or whatever, and then I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Doesn't
really do a whole lot for me.
Yeah. How about the women's match?
The Bailey fight was really good. Remind me the
Nia Jax,
who won. And then Rhea Ripley coming out and jumping her afterwards. And then there were like 20 people in the ring trying to break it up. That was electric. That was probably the best part of the night until the final match.
Yeah.
The beef felt real between the two of them. And they did a good job of like the backstory and like their record or whatever. They're like 7-6 all time. Bayley was against her. And so, and it was also Bayley's first match on Raw. And so I thought they would let her win it, and they didn't. So I thought that was interesting.
No, it's because they're trying to really build to Jax and Ripley. So they're going to beat whoever they face until they face each other.
Yeah,
so
I thought that was a good one. I thought it was a good one. A little too long, but I thought it was good.
Yeah,
especially with them to extend it with Ripley running out afterwards. Like it didn't need to be that long.
Yeah, but they had to do that to balance the fact that Ripley got jumped. She had to get a revenge.
No, I love that. I just think the match should have been shorter.
Gotcha.
Like pin Bayley and then have her come out and jump her. That would have been fine. Yeah.
I thought CM Punk was very interesting in his promo that Hulk Hogan caught some shrapnel in his promo.
He did, yeah.
Do you now that doesn't happen if Hogan doesn't get booed out of the building 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, we're going to try to capitalize on the fact that everybody's talking about why he got booed. And so there's going to be some easy, a cheap pop. This is going to be an easy pop for CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think I like CM Punk.
Yeah. I kind of do too.
I think I like him.
Yeah.
I think I like him. So we'll see what he does in the Royal Rumble in a few weeks.
Yeah. What about Damage Control Pure Fusion Collective?
I think I skipped this one.
You skipped through it?
Was that the tag team one?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I skipped it.
Okay.
I didn't care.
Yeah. I didn't think the crowd was as into that either. They were all waiting on Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre.
I couldn't wait. I literally couldn't wait. I'm like, let's fast forward through this. Let's go see Seth freaking Rollins get his revenge. That's exactly what happened.
They're the same guy to me. I'm ready for this feud to end. They are the same guy.
It's probably my favorite thing right now.
Really?
In Raw. Yeah. I think Seth freaking Rollins is probably my favorite right now. I think I made that decision watching last night. So I was like very actively pulling for him. And so that was a good one. That was a good one. I was surprised that he pinned him. I was actually a little surprised that he won. But then like they kept fighting afterwards. I think that was my first time seeing that in the few weeks in the Netflix era of Raw. I think it's the first time that's happened. So that was interesting. I don't know if I loved that, but I get it. It's fine.
Sami Zayn involvement at the end of the match too.
Do people like Sami Zayn, or is he just there?
I don't know. You tell us in the comments. I don't really.
There's nobody else watching.
Nobody
made it this far into the video.
Yes, they did too. Oh, that's not true, Zach. There's
no chance.
No, there are. There's plenty of people still watching. They love the review. They've told us so.
All right, comment Sami Zayn in the comments down below. We'll know that you made it this far.
That's going to screw up the algorithm for so many people. Just random Sami Zayn comments. I love that.
Yeah, we're going to need a comment from like John Cena fan 100 comments.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Who's winning the Royal Rumble, by the way? We're less than 2 weeks away.
Seth freaking Rollins.
Okay.
Come on.
Come on, of course.
They want him on WrestleMania.
No, they do. Well, he'll be at WrestleMania in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So
I got it.
All right.
That does it for today's show.
It does. Thanks, everybody, for watching, subscribing. If you haven't yet, over 6,500 strong have subscribed to the channel.
Thank you.
You'll be the next one to do that. Head over to thebarnauburn.com for the latest in conversation, latest news as we head toward basketball Saturday and game day. And is Janai coming back yet, or is it going to take long? I don't know. We got a lot more to talk about, so talk about it at thebarnauburn.com. Remember, until next time, everyone's got vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.